Boy, what a May we just had. Right after we had an April of 10.5% up, May closed out 5% up. All the way from the April lows, we're up like 17% right now. This market is wild. It's all the way up in the stratosphere. I'm the Wall St Yardie. This is the weekly market report. I want to get your head ready for this week as you get into trading. Know where the market is, where it's headed, and then what you need to look out for as you're trading this week. So this week we're going to just do a quick market overview, look at some earnings to watch. Then I'm going to get into the SPY levels as I always do, and then give you a quick lesson on Fibonacci's because we're now at all new all-time highs, and there's just some special things we need to do with the Fibs now that we really have no data to figure out where our levels are. So I'm going to show you how to set those up. Then we're going to touch on Bitcoin a little bit. Bitcoin has been having a little move here, so we want to pay attention to that. So let's jump right on in. All right, so jumping in here, earnings for this week. Let's pay attention to see what we got going on. First thing I'm going to watch here is Dollar General. You know, economy is kind of funky right now. You know, inflation is getting higher, gas is still high, people are struggling a little bit. So want to pay attention to what they have to say. Are, you know, consumers coming in and looking for that deal at Dollar General. So we'll pay attention to what they say. They go Tuesday before the open, so Tuesday morning before the market opens. We're going to pay attention to what's happening there, and maybe we get a little bit of a move after they report. Then we're going to jump into a couple big retailers this week. Ulta, we'll touch on Lulu in a second. And then Palo Alto is going to be a cybersecurity play here. This all drives into the AI narrative. Want to pay attention to them after the close on Tuesday for both of those. Then after the close on Wednesday, this will probably be the big day I'm paying attention to, where we have Broadcom, which makes chips, all for AI, all about that. So if they have a really good earnings report and put out a good forecast to go forward, then the AI trade is still on. And then CrowdStrike, just like Palo Alto, cybersecurity play here. Want to pay attention to what they have to say as well as far as what's coming on. And then one other one I'm really paying close attention to, I posted this on the Instagram, was veev. Great company. They make software for drug makers so that they could test the quality of the drugs and the process that they're going through. Very much locked in type play here, but they've taken a big hit during this SaaS or SaaS sell-off here in software because everybody thinks they're just going to replace their software with Claude. So I don't think that's going to happen. So we're going to see what veev has to say. If their earnings are good, we might see a nice bounce here. That might be a great place to get in, take advantage of some good value in a really great company that's currently on sale. And then we'll round the week out with Lululemon. Let's see what the retailer has to say as far as what's coming up in the future, how the consumer is feeling about buying their products. They're already high end, right? So are people falling off of the high end and then starting to look for that deal like the Dollar Generals? Are they trading down to like Walmart or maybe some cheaper brands to get the deals that they need to continue their lifestyle? All right, over to the charts now. SPY chart, looking at the monthly chart. I like to look at this at the end of the month, kind of see what the patterns are showing up. As you can see here, SPY has just been a monster over the years, and even more recently. But what you're paying attention to here is just kind of, you know, what kind of candle did we get this month? How does that match up with last month? Are we getting higher highs and higher lows? Certainly are. We even closed near the all-time high here at the end of the month, which is a very strong close. The only concern I have on this chart, if we go to the bottom, is that we have very low volume. Volume dropped off even from April. So we have 2 months in a row where the volume dropped off. So we got to be extra careful here. That could mean that the market makers are pulling back a little bit. It is May. We're getting into the summer season, so maybe they're going to go take their vacations. We might not see as much volume in the market. That allows for volatility to kick in. Maybe the sellers step in and start forcing some things the other way. So we got to pay attention to that. So back over to our daily chart, which is what we pay attention to the most. Here, we have our levels. We had our previous high, broke way through that a few weeks ago, right? So now the problem we have on this chart is that where do I put my support and resistance levels now that we're well above this high? There's no more data to the left for me to match that up to. So I can't confirm anything here. So what I have to do is get a little creative, and we're going to go back to our tried and true friend, the Fibonacci retracement tool. We're going to go ahead and grab that. If you're using TradingView, you can find it over here in your toolbox on the left, but I keep it as a favorite, so it's always here on my chart. And what I'll do is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to start from the low, which was here in April, and I can't go to any of these highs. And the reason for that is we haven't had a significant enough pullback to say any of these levels are proven. Like I was saying, there's no data to support those as anchor points for our Fibonacci levels. So I'm going to just go back to the previous high that we had here back in January. So that'll be our high, this will be our low, and then let's see where the levels fall in after that. And that's what we get here. So with all of this now in place, what I'm looking at this week as we're going in is maybe we get up to the 766 level here on SPY to the upside. So that would be our upside target is 766, maybe 765 is a more round number, but we'll go with what the fib tells us. Mark that one there as a dashed line. So we have it there. The other level, if it pulls back, we want to know where we could possibly pull back to. And there are a couple very important levels here. So we have the 1618, which is always a very popular number. That is one of the magic numbers inside of Fibonacci here is the 618 ratio. It's called the golden ratio. So you'll see a lot of stocks come back to a 618 level. In this case, it's the 1.618 because we're above our previous high here. So that could be a level we come back to. If we find support and bounce here, then we're going to look like we could go even much higher, right? So that's one level we're going to watch. And then we'll put one more in. And the reason I'll add this one, and I touched on this in the last market report, is we have a gap here. So I'm going to actually put my line not on the 726 where the fib is, but I'll put it right at the gap. And as I've said many times before, gap, gap, gap. Price likes to retrace and fill gaps. So we're going to pay attention to that gap and see if that holds as a level. And then we also have another one down here at 716, but we won't mark that. If we get past and through this gap in a big heavy way, then I'm looking to come all the way back down to the previous highs and then let that become our support level if that's what's going to happen. So we'll just drop those on there. We have one level above, two levels below here. Just to kind of see how price pulls back and deals with it. I like this gap level as the target to the downside. So that's what we're playing with. Now, a couple things to mention before I get into QQQ chart because I want to show you something there. But the SpaceX IPO that's coming is going to be pretty big. It's going to be large. You might see the market just sit around in this range here for the next couple weeks because there's so much money that's going to be filtered into SpaceX that the market makers, and that might be the reason we're seeing the volume kind of pull back in the monthly, is there's going to be a lot of dollars that have to flow that way. If those dollars flow to SpaceX like I expect them to, the rest of the market might suffer, right? There's just not enough money to go around to buy these. So you might not get any good buying pressure to the upside for some of these bigger names due to the SpaceX IPO. So I truly, honestly expect a little sideways action. Maybe we stay inside of this 766, 740 range, or maybe we come back down to reality a little bit and go between 725, 740. So let's pay attention to what happens. The key level for me this week is really 740. Can we find support here, or does it break and we get down to 725? Hang in here until the SpaceX IPO, and then we got to see what happens after that, right? But the reason you're seeing the market do all this crazy stuff here is this is all being supported by AI and tech, right? So if I switch over to our QQQ chart, you'll see it. This chart is even more extreme than we were just seeing in the SPY. This thing is pretty much a straight line up until this point here, mid-May, and we had a little pullback, and it just continued right after that. This is what you call exponential or a parabolic move on the chart. These things pull back very, very hard, and I want us to have some caution there. The other thing you got to pay attention to, even when we were going sideways back here, and this is the same on the SPY chart, so I won't have to switch back and forth on that, but you'll see here, even when we were going sideways here near these all-time highs, previous all-time highs, volume was doing very well, right? We were having high volume. the last couple months during this entire move to the upside, our volume is pretty much half of what it was when we had this quality trade and we were broad in the market, and a lot of companies were going up, a lot of things were moving, and then we that was initially, and then we flattened out, and even during the flat period we had a lot of volume action. We do not have that during this upside. When I see low volume and this big move to the upside, that's a big signal of divergence, meaning that there's something bad coming, right? It is a bearish divergence, something's bad coming. There's just not enough action to support this move up, even though it's happened. So the few participants that are jumping in on this, they're taking advantage of it, they're getting the benefit, but when the selling happens or they get ready to take profits, this thing is going to come down hard. And I got to expect they're going to take profits soon. This is too much of a monster move for these folks to just sit back and wait. You're talking about 34% in 42 days, right? So if they have any kind of discipline to them, which I expect they do, you're going to see a sell-off here. Probably maybe sometime during June. I expect it in July. I think it's going to happen after the SpaceX IPO, so we'll pay attention to that. Again, that's not the right Fibonacci point. This one is, but you see here we're kind of in the same space. So we've doubled the move from the low to the high, all right, already in QQQ, and we're well beyond that now, right? So we've more than doubled the move from the April lows to the previous high, and then we broke out and got a whole nother move after that. So this is where I like to have some caution. I like to take some money off the table, not necessarily putting on any puts just yet. I need to see confirmation to the downside before I believe in that, and so that's what I'm watching. But I wanted to show you this because when you see a chart like this, you got to be careful, right? So take some of your profits off the table, maybe take half your shares off. You've more than done very, very well. If you're trading options, you're probably up 200-300% on that trade already. And then if you're even in stocks, you have that 34% move that you should probably be looking to protect, or at least find a stop loss, right? So set your stop loss here, maybe at this low, or this gap if we break through the gap. Right, so you want to be careful there. So that's what we're looking at. Now let's switch on over to Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin was in this big downtrend. We broke our trend back here in April, mid-April, and started going up. We got up to these are the levels we've always had on our chart here, this 81,000 level. Got up there, and sure enough, look what happened. We reversed right off of it. So that was really good resistance level. It was proven already back here a couple times, and then even further back in time. And now we get the pullback off. So nice move up. Nice pullback. This is very healthy. This is what we want to see. We came back to this level and kind of broke through it. So let's pay attention to what happens this week. If Bitcoin could find some support here, go back up to test this resistance, and then we'll see what happens when it gets here. If it breaks through this resistance with a nice green candle and some decent volume down here, then expect Bitcoin to come on up all the way back up to 97, 98,000. I don't think it would stay there. If it gets that high, it'll probably go right to 100. People love that round number, right? So that's what we're looking for with Bitcoin, and that's what we're looking for in the market this week. I'm the Wall Street Yardie. This has been the weekly market report. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you like, you subscribe, and link me in the comments. Give me a shout out.